Welcome to Total War Attila. Top 5 Overhaul mods are coming to you. I will show you all.
Total War Medieval 1212 AD is a Total War or Attila Overhaul mod. It basically is the first one of the 5 that we're going to discuss today. As you can see, the campaign map is kind of great. They've done a load of stuff. As I said, it starts in 1212 AD at the end of the Fourth Crusade, and the Fifth Crusade is about to start because, of course, the Fourth Crusade initiated the creation of the Latin Empire and the sack of Byzantium. So that's where we start off now, and basically this mod start off as well with, of course, the faction of the Byzantine Empire. Now you got these separate factions: the Empire of Epirus, the Empire of Trebizond, and the Empire of Nika. All are trying to sort of fight for control of the Byzantine Empire and become the next ruler when they capture Byzantium back from the Latin Crusaders. That's one thing happen. You also have scripted events like the Crusades, but what you also have are the Crusades themselves. And right now, the bot itself is also still in development, so it is not fully released. But there are like new features being added in the future, like the Holy Roman Empire elective system that they're working on. I'm not totally sure how that works, but we'll possibly see it when it comes out. It will be really interesting. And I surprise you to check it out. And we're also going to take a look, of course, on the units in a second. So hope you love watching the unit models. There are really many different units. Some of factions, of course, do use the same types of units, but that's mostly because of the culture. But I would say that most faction has different units. So what we can see here is we have the Absit Caliphate, a load of different units, very nice. Of course, all of these ones are from different time periods, so you won't be able to use them all in the same time of the campaign map, but you will be able to use them later on. Like you can also see like late, early, and high. So you have the early middle ages, the high middle ages, and the late middle age. So that's how the units mechanic works, I suppose, and how you can use them in that regard. If you then go to the Ayyubid Sultanate, you can see they have sort of the similar types of unit, but they are differently. Some factions will have more, but of course it is still the earlier version of the mod. Very soon there will be coming out a new one that will update a lot of faction and will add more flavor to it, as well as some more flavor to the campaign map, but I already told you that in the campaign section, of course. If you then go to the Emperor of Trebizond, not too many units yet, but they sort of have also different units, so that's so cool. If you then go towards the where is it? The Empire of Nicaea, but is sort of resembling the Byzantine Empire, basically has sort of similar units, but still some differentiation to differentiate themselves from the Empire of Trebizond. So if you go to the Latin Empire, they have also kind of an interesting unit. They have like some Latins, and they have a mix between mostly medieval style units from the Franks, etc., and English. Well, they also have some influence by the Genoese, which you can see here. And if you then go towards the Republic of Genoa, we can see that they actually have some of the same units, but not much. But these guys also have a nice amount of rosters, so they have differentiation. And if you then go towards some similar faction, we go to the, I guess we go to Venice itself, if you can find it. Where is Venice? I might just remove this from the video though, I'm not too sure. There is Venice. I'm really missing it. Well, if we go to the Commune of Milan, we do see they have sort of a little bit of similarities, but not much. Still, there's some similarities between factions, but that's not matter, that's normal. If you going to go to the Crown of Aragon, mostly Spanish, dismounted Argis, Halibios, also a special unit. I do think though, if you can go towards the crown of really the crown of Aragon, the Kingdom of Castile. You can see that Kingdom of Castile also has those Spanish Order Knights. They're different than the ones from Castile. From Aragon, I suppose. But that's a bit of the unit variation, and I suppose right now we're going to move on to the next modded faction, and that will be, as before, here we got Ancient Empires. Ancient Empires is basically Rome 2 in Total War Attila. It is basically the conversion mod for that, but I must say this one is just great. It is a really nice looking mod, and it is definitely not bad. As you can see, this is in a sandstorm battle. Actually, this is the Battle of Zama that you actually can start off as you play as Rome of Carthage in the campaign. You basically start off with the simulated Battle of Carthage. Depends actually on the situation if you are going to fight in a sandstorm. I have had it before that I didn't fight in a sandstorm before, or in a clear battle. But here we are seeing the Battle of Zama's playoff. That's sort of one of the things that you can start off. I think the unit models are all really good looking. And of course, with the mechanics from Attila, there are always some really cool things that you can see, of course, done. And we got both armies here. We got Scipio Africanus, and of course Hannibal Barca. Both are there. Ancient Empire starts off at the end of the Punic Wars. Of course, at the end of the Second Punic War, where the Seleucid Empire is kind of the biggest empire there is, and then you got Rome, I think, and then you got the Ptolemies. Those ones are the really three big ones. The rest sort of are around and are trying to stay alive in that period and trying to outcome those bigger empires. While Carthage still is trying to struggle, it is doable to play as them. I have done it as well in the campaign. You're of course willing to always willing to check that out. Always welcome to check it out on the channel. I really enjoyed that one. And yeah, here we are, already starting of a battle, but yeah, that's Ancient Empire. It just basically brings Rome 2 into it. It also brings a whole lot more mechanics that of course Rome 2 doesn't have, and that really helps out the mod a lot, and also brings over a little bit more mechanical, of course graphical. I think it looks better than Rome 2, that's definitely true. Especially these units as well that are in Rome 2, they look a bit different, similar, but they do look better in my opinion in Attila than they do in Rome 2, but that's also one. That's of course your own opinion on that one. But it is of course Ancient Empire. I'm also going to take a look now on the campaign map. A little bit of an idea what the maps look like. It is of course the campaign map of Attila. It just renames a lot of provinces. It adds new, of course I think a little bit of a lighter look than Attila does, so that's also cool. And also what the factions you will have if you play actually in the campaign map are. They all have sort of their own sceneristic look, but I really think they have done a good job of like Greek sort of marble-esque behind look, and the Barbarian will have like a bit more Stone Age type of look to them. But this is the Seleucid Empire for you guys, and yeah, that's a little bit what it has. It of course also brings a whole lot more unit, new buildings, and also I think most of these ones are actually implemented from Rome Total War. So most of the units that you will see here in the background are from Rome 2, of course not the art that you will see down here, but these ones are definitely from Rome Total War, but not all of them of course. And yeah, that's a bit what the campaign maps look like. Of course I will also take a look at all the factions you can play as. I hope of course that the mod will still continue in development. It is always a really nice mod to play as, I must admit. I really had great fun with it. I hope you guys will as well. Of course all the mods, as mod before, all of them are linked in the description below if you want to check it out. But let's take a look at all the campaign factions. The playable factions, you got Rome and Carthage. You got Carthage, of course, Hannibal Barca. As the rest of the Republica, you got Sector Julius Caesar, sort of the Julian family they're going for. They had to choose some, and you can also Scipio Africanus from actually the model from Total War Arena is in this one, so you can play as that one. That one is inside of this mod, so if interesting that they're always in. You also got Basilica, of course Seleucids. You got the Achaean League, and they are sort of the collection of the Greek city-states. You got the Egyptians, of course, the Ptolemaic dynasty, Pergamon, and Macedon. Then we got the Celts, we got the Boii, the Arverni, and the Iceni. Then we got for the German tribes, you got the Cimbri, Marcomanni, and the Suebi. For the Iberians, you got only Lusitanii, because most of this is actually being eaten up already. My apologies, by Rome. And for Eastern Pontus, you got a whole load of extra factions. You got the Medi Apratan Atrakatakana. I'm not going to try and pronounce that again. You got Rechen Achadeum, but it's basically Parthia. You got Hastastan, that is actually the Armenian kingdom. And you got Bactria, and you got Pontus. And as last from the Balkans, you got Drechia or Regum, but it's of course the Drician kingdom. And you got the kingdom of the Getai, or the Dacians. So those are all the culture groups as well as all the factions you can play as. And as you can see also, there are of course different cultures between each culture group as well. You got the Black Sea Balkan culture group that are the Gatai and Thracians for instance, and they have both different cultures, what are the Thracians and the Dacians. Same goes for the Pontans, who actually have Parthian as well, so that's also different than Persian. And we got Armenian, and we got Macaroni for, let's say, the Bactrians, as well as for Pontans you got actually Pontic. So you definitely have a lot of culture differentiation, but I think it's a really good one because was the thing in Rome 2 that a load of factions had the same cultural group, and so that really helps with the variation, and also a bit more making it more difficult for factions to expand easily, so there is a little bit of cultural diversion, because really the only faction that really had to deal with not really be able to conquer territory without having to convert stuff in Rome 2 was actually Rome, because there were no other factions that were Latin except I think the Etruscans, or they might have changed that in the later stages to Italian, but I'm not sure of. But yeah, you got that one. But yeah, that is basically Ancient Empires for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this mod. If you played it before, I really did like it. I think it brings a lot of variation to the Total War Attila campaign, because not really other mod has the of course the Rome 2 vibe, but I think really is nice because I love Rome 2. It possibly is one of my favorite games of the Total War franchise, but that's of course all again your own opinion. But then anyway, let's go and move on to the next faction, the next mod I should say. Anyway, we are with Terminus Total War. A mod is definitely very old. It's very already long on the Steam Workshop, unlike the Ancient Empires or the Medieval 1212 AD mod, who are less long out. This mod is definitely a little bit different because it adds a whole load of new factions to sort of a more vanilla style campaign, but I think that's why I like it. What it basically does, it removes the amount of really big factions like the Eastern Roman Empire, makes them just a little bit smaller and making them more endurable, playable. I think for especially newcomers to Total War, this mod's kind of nice because just basically allows you to play as the Romans, except of not having to become absolutely embroiled into the the pain of playing with the Roman empires when you play as them in the vanilla Total War campaign. That doesn't mean there's still no hardships in it, but it does definitely something I think is very good. It also just adds a whole lot of different factions that you don't see before. Like what basically has happened is that they have added up the Roman Empire, in into sections. You got basically province of Hispania, you got Africa, and I think actually, correct, it might actually have let the I've not played in a while. They have let the Caramantians actually take in the province of Tiburtilia. So you got the province of Africa, you got the Roman hegemons, what are the main sort of the imperial provinces we can call them. And then you got the province of Germania, the province of Gaul, and the province of Britannia. So you have these different factions that are controlled by the Roman hegemony. My apologies for my pronunciation. The same thing happened to the Byzantine Empire. And they are called, they're not provinces, but they're called teams. So there's a little differentiation in that one. What is the king though with the Byzantine hegemony is that you have the sort of the revolt of the Hellenistic faction that are called the Team of Creeds, and the Corinthian revolt are sort of based on the Greek factions of Sparta and basically Crete. So those factions also have the units that are based on those factions, but sort of evolved over time. So that's actually kind of cool. They have sort of this age hoplite units, but I think are really cool looking. We're going to take a look at them very soon. So that's just a little bit of a thing what the mod is mostly about. But also what this mod really brings, it has a load of different campaign options. There are also sub mods that you can play as. You have the Rebellion, and I think you also got for Charlemagne. I will check look it up for you after this to make sure, but I'm pretty sure Charlemagne is also one of the things that you can play as. So there are definitely a lot of things you can do with this mod. There are a lot of sub mods. Take a look at them for yourself because there are loads of them, and take a look on what you can do because there are sub mods for just balancing and other stuff. So there are not really any new buildings as far as I know. Maybe for the religion from these guys, we could take a look, of course, on this faction. Not really, there are not really any new buildings for this one, but there are new units and new factions that sort of change the dynamic of the game, but I think is really nice and sort of makes the Roman Empire more playable if you're a new player. So for the new players, I would really recommend playing this mod. Let's go and take a look at the units, and then we'll have a little bit on the units models in the game itself. These are some of the units. There are not too many extra units, but especially like for the Romans, there are not really any. But you got like Limitatis, some new Limitati units. But if you go to like the new faction that they've implemented, like the team of Palatinia, what are team of Palatinia? They have their cultural, so they have their cultural type units like the Abraham Fotarati veterans, are sort of an Arab type unit. You got Castle Allied Spears. You also got these are all allied sort of allied Fotarati, allied auxiliary units that you can hire. Not auxiliary unit, but they sort of implemented to represent that they're in that area. The same goes like for the team of Crete, who are a little bit more Greek, as I said. They have the Cretan Spears, the Cretan Spear Lords, that are sort of representing the Greek hoplite units, and they, of course, they also have some. Yeah, they mostly have the rest are the melee cavalry and just mostly Eastern Roman Empire units. But they also have, of course, those Minotaur Marines, or of course representing the Minotaur of Crete, etc. And then we also have the. Let's take a look at the Corinthian revolt, with the mostly Spartan base, as you can see. We got Macedonian Milatioi, that are sort of based Haplonian pikes. We got the Spartan Militiae, and we got the Spartan Arachmanatenae spears, that are sort of the made a little bit based, as you can see, on the 300 spear guards. And then we also got some melee, Legio Spatae. We got Legio Corinthium, and we got Corinthian Code, sort of all based on the Corinthian revolt. And these ones definitely have been more fleshed out. The Cretans, as you can see, also all a little bit based on those ones, and I think it's really cool. Definitely check them out if you play as them, as checking out this mod. Because also take a look at Germany, they basically have the same starter thing. One new barbarian faction is the Guts, who are sort of a mix up between the barbarian faction, the Norse factions, who have invaded England and are right now there. They also have some new units. They got some Shokkav, Ragnar's Marauders. We got Viking Lands, etc. Also new units. And they also have a crossbow unit, Viking crossbow, Viking wolf archers, etc. So they have some of the new units as well. So overall, not too bad as a unit. They also have all of factions. I really encourage you to check some of them out, play as them, and see if you enjoyed. One thing also to note is that there is also a sub mod you can play as, and for the last Rome, that's not really this one, but there is a sub mod for that one that sort of makes you into a Roman separatist group that takes command of a faction of the Romans that are trying to create a new Rome. And yeah, take a look at that one in the description below. I will put it down if you're interested in that one as well. I am interested because I'm not totally sure. Possibly you can take a look at that because I'm curious to see if there are any new units for the Age of Charlemagne. No, they're not, so we're not going to take a look at that. And the last Roman, for just to make you guys not guessing, for the last Roman there are not really any new faction. As you can see, they're not really based on that one. So they're not really meant for that. But take a look at the Rebellion one. There also is also one Ancient Asia's Empire, but that one unfortunately I don't think is being updated, so I don't think it is really yet playable, but you can check it out. Let me know in the comments below if it is the case, so people in this one can also know. But anyway, that is the terminus to the war. Let's take a look on the battles to show off the Cretan or Corinthian units for fun. Well, here we got some of those units. We got here some of those archer units, looking really cool actually. We got those helmets from the Tiarii from Rome 2. Over here we got these really cool actually looking cavalry units. Here we got those heavier shock cav, but I think they look really nice. I really do think the helmets do look great. So yeah, here we have those. Here we got some of those spear infantry. These are the more militia type units. Here we got the more heavier units. Overall, not badly done, I think. Over here we got some more different types. Again, check them out in the description below, of course. Really nice looking. And here we got those more Macedonian type pike units. And here we got a couple more legionary-esque, as you can see. Overall not bad. And I think I will leave here to help for you guys to check out the mod for yourself, and we're going to move on to the next mod. Oh, there we got it. Here we got the Age of the Vikings mod for Total War Attila. I really enjoyed playing it because it is basically sort of a conversion for two of my two of the favorite TV I've watched in a long time, like Last Kingdom. I really enjoyed, and of course the Vikings as well. With the Ghost, Travis Fimmel and Sons of Ragnar. Really enjoyed it, and this definitely is also a cheaper option if you want to go and actually play as one of the Viking faction. If you do own Attila, of course, and you want to play with the DLC. So that's why I think this mod is really good. It is really nice. It replaces a nice feel of the Viking era into Total War Attila, and it brings just a nice mod, and I think they have done a really good job with it. And this nice spectacle. They've done a nice overhaul as well with the blood and the unit models. Some of them have been changed, and I think they have done a great job with it. And I really enjoyed it. I've done, of course, a let's play on it, and yeah, it's been great fun playing with them. And just overall, it is a bloody, gory, and entertaining mod to play with. Basically, of course, all these mods are my own preference, so that's why there's not like a big overall mod like the Ancient Empires mod, or Rise of Mordor, or Medieval 1212 AD, but it is just a nice overall mod that just plays as a different campaign and time period that is really interesting. And I think it is just nice to see what you can play and do with the Vikings on a grand, bigger campaign map over most of Europe. So I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. And if you're interested in checking it out, of course, link in the description below. But now come to take a little look on the factions you can play as in this mod. These are all the factions for the Age of the Vikings mod. We're going to start off with Danelaw, of course, the historic Viking faction that invaded England, led by the Sons of Ragnar, and their leader is Handalf Ragnarsson. And of course they fought many wars against the kingdoms of England. Then we got the Danes, led the kingdom of Denmark, of course. Ribe is their capital city. Their faction leader is Bashek. Then we got the other Viking faction, that is the Kingdom of Dublin or Tiflin, one of the two, I suppose you can call it. And they are being led by Olaf, and their faction, basically is the at some point they will become the descendant, be ruled by the descendants of Ivar the Boneless. If you want to play as them, you have to play the Thrones of Britannia, because I'm pretty sure those ones, the leaders in that faction will be of the kingdom of will be of the descendants of Ivar. Then we got the Emirate of Sicily, the smaller faction. Actually, I think it might be the smallest faction that you can choose from. They have like, I think they start off with one province, so they're a small Islamic faction that can try and basically colonize the Italian peninsula and try and do a sort of a Reconquista version of Italy. Also, I suppose it's not a Reconquista because that's not a Muslim, but just sort of a conquest of Italy by a Islamic faction. I think that's kind of cool. Then we got the last kingdom faction, the House of Wessex, and they played, of course, being led by Everett. I think this might be the brother of Father of Howard. I'm not too sure. They might be having the same name. It might be the brother or father. I'm not sure. So this is one of the two. So we got the House of Wessex. In England you can play as, so one of the Saxon factions. Then we got the King of Asturias. The Spanish faction is going to try and hold on and defend Spain against the Islamic invaders that have taken most of Spain already. Then we got a small kingdom in France going to try and hold on and try and build themselves up, become the true rulers of Francia. I think these guys are sort of the descendants of maybe the last descendants of the pagans in France. I'm not too sure, but something like that. Then we got the Kingdom of West Francia, the East Franks, and we got the Kingdom of Italy. Basically, these all are the descendants of Charlemagne, the breakup faction of that one, and they're all trying to vie for control of the Charlemagnean Empire. And also, there's one faction that you can play as the Kingdom of Lorraine, but that one is in the campaign map as well. As you can see here, you see this is not king colored, as well as here with the Kingdom of France. This part is being controlled by the Kingdom of Lorraine. So yeah, these are all the faction players in the Age of Vikings mod. Now we're going to move on to the last overall faction, or mod overall. Yeah, I'm going to remove this so it doesn't matter. Alright, now we're going to start off with the next faction. Now we are going to start off with the last overview of a mod that is called Rise of Mordor. And I hope you enjoyed that one as well. Let's take a look. Well, here we are, Rise of Mordor, of course, the great overall mod for sort of the Lord of the Rings, of course, and these units look all epic. There are like two different versions of it. I would say, yeah, there is a sub mod that will allow you to play as a little bit of more different factions, like the sorry, I'm not going to pronounce those. The Hassassin, I think, the Harim, and the I think also the Rohan faction is going to be enabled in that one as well. So there's a sub mod, and I will link it to that one as well. And yeah, here is Rise of Mordor, and I must say they have done such a good job. These unit models all look so great, and I love it, and I enjoy it. And also all the maps that they have made for this mod are also really cool. And yeah, here is a couple of these woodland on an Illyrian elves who are ready to fight some Mordor. But we'll be back. Do like is this? It looks really nice. This animation here. I think these are. I suppose these are Gondorians from the look of it. So here we got this the intro page when you start off, and I must say it looks really nice. Well done. And then we got custom battles. Yeah, here are the faction. This Linden, the faction that we played just a second ago, and we got the faction of Dale. These are all the units for Dale, like the Bardings. We got the Rangers of Ravignon, Rivermen, Merchant Escort, Dale Cavalry Regiment. We got some Dale Lake Town Guards. We got some Dalian Spear Guards. We got Dol Guldur. Also kind of cool. Champions Dol Guldur. Wraiths. Panafons. Coldur Pikes. Mirkwood Trackers. Mirkwood Raiders, etc. Got Dunderling Tribes, those more humans. We got the Easterlings. Ah, that's the one that I wanted to go. Yeah, these are the ones that I wanted to say. These are the Eastlings, they're actually called. And I think they also have the mercenary here. Oh no, maybe not. We'll take a look at them in a second then. Yeah, these guys also look really cool. I will show them off in the end of the video. Just have some screenshots of them. And then we got Gondor, our favorite faction of course of the human race. Then we got Isengard. Isengard Urix. Urukai! No, not Urix, but Urukai! Ah, like a human flesh! Alright, then we got Lindon, that are the high elves, I would say. Then we got the Mordor faction. And as last but not least, the Woodland Realm. Also cool looking units from as far as I know. A little bit more variety here in the bow units, but overall not bad. I suppose you check it out in the description below, and I will show you some more factions. Of course, it is not like overall mod for the campaign, but for battles and visual looks of Lord of the Rings, it is really cool. One thing I also should note, there's also a link in the description below for those who are interested in the sub mod that actually adds Rohan, another faction I'm not too sure of, and a few other ones. So if you're interested in that, link in the description below for that one as well. As well as the links of course as all the other ones. Link in the description below for the Rise of Mordor mod. This was the last overall for this 5 overall mod series. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. If you want to stick around and see more of these mod overviews, I will try and do like one in 2 weeks to keep it a bit updated, and of course 5 overall mods, but just overviews of mods. So if you're interested in that and also interested in Total War and Total War Let's Plays, stick around and leave a sub. And if you're not and just enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you didn't like it, leave a dislike. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed and have a great day.